Welcome back to the NVP Show here. We have another exciting episode today. I'm your host, Neil Villapiano. We got a couple topics to talk about today, so without further ado, let's get to it. First topic we're going to talk about today, the NFL preseason as we begin week 3 of this year's preseason. And a big game coming up is the Jets versus the Giants, a game that a lot of fans, especially down in North Jersey, really look forward to. There's a few things from both teams that both need to get fixed up. Let's talk about the Giants first. First thing is their offensive line woes. I saw their game last week against the Buffalo Bills, and they really struggled. Every time they ran the ball, it seemed like that Brandon Jennings and the other running backs were struggling to even get out of the backfield. And Eli Manning just didn't look comfortable back there throwing the football. And if the Giants don't get this fixed, especially now as we're getting close to the beginning of the regular season, it's going to be another long season for Giants fans. Another area we're going to talk about is how long will the starters be in tonight? This is more like a dress rehearsal at this point of the preseason. You're going to have your guys in there for much longer than you had maybe in the first and second game. I expect the Giants starters to be in there probably about halfway through the second quarter. And then probably in the final preseason game, they're going to play pretty much the whole first half, so that they're ready to go for their first game of the season against Dallas in week 1. And the last thing with the Giants that I want to discuss is their defense and how it's looked. A lot of fans obviously know it. They picked up a few guys in the offseason, spent a lot of the money that they had to upgrade their defense. And from my point of view, I think that they've looked pretty good so far. They haven't really made a lot of big mistakes. Obviously, they've given up points, but every defense is going to do that, even the great ones. And so, it's just the second game of the preseason. We're only beginning the third one tonight. And it's going to take time for these guys to get to know each other and build chemistry and just gel as a team. So only time will tell in the next couple weeks. Once the regular season gets underway, we'll be able to see how they perform. Now let's look at the New York Jets. And before, in the last couple episodes I've had a couple discussions about the Jets, obviously with Ryan Fitzpatrick and a few other things. I want to talk about the quarterbacks first. And no, we're not going to talk about the starting position because that's already been cemented with Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back for this 1 year. I want to talk about the backup position. I heard from a source that somebody believes that Geno Smith is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. That's taking it way too far, in my opinion. Geno Smith is not the best backup quarterback in the NFL. The best backup quarterback in the NFL is Tom Brady, because he's out for the first 4 games. So anybody who says that Tom Brady's not is it's just crazy. But just looking at it, I don't even think Geno Smith is the best backup quarterback on the Jets. I've said this before. The best quarterback for that team is not even Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's Bryce Petty, the second-year man out of Baylor. He has lit it up. He lit it up last week against the Redskins. Even though they lost, he threw a couple touchdown passes and looked really good. And he's going to continue to get better. Obviously, people are also waiting for when is Christian Hackenberg, the rookie quarterback out of Penn State, when is he going to get a chance to play? He may play tonight, he may not. And if he doesn't play at all this preseason, my question then is, what was the point of drafting him? If you're not going to play him and you're only going to evaluate him off of practice, you're not going to get very much out of him. He sat the first 2 games. I've seen images of him without even pads on. And so you just have to kind of wonder, if you're a fan of Christian Hackenberg, are you going to get a chance to see him play? And so I feel like we're just going to have to wait and see. And I would like to see Christian Hackenberg play tonight. Maybe let Fitzpatrick play a series or 2, then let Geno do his thing, then let Petty play, and then maybe in the fourth quarter for a drive or 2, let Hackenberg play and see how he leads the team. How does he throw the ball? How does he develop in the NFL game? And the other thing about the Jets I want to discuss is Muhammad Wilkerson, their defensive end. I think, in my opinion, he is the best player on the Jets right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how big of an impact he's going to make on this defense that the Jets have. The Jets, for the last couple of years, when they had Rex Ryan and all those guys, they were known for a tremendous defense. They're one of the best in the league. And even now, they're still a very good defense, especially when it comes to stopping the run. But I think Muhammad Wilkerson is the one guy you're going to want to keep your eyes on, not only in this game tonight, but throughout the regular season. Even if you're not a Jets fan, if your team is happening to play the Jets, watch him, because he might really develop into one of the best, if not maybe in a couple of years, the best defensive end in the NFL. One last thing I want to talk about with the Giants that I want to mention, this is big. Victor Cruz is finally back. 2 years later, after his horrific injury against the Philadelphia Eagles, he is coming back and will play tonight. And also, another interesting thing about him is that he's not going to wear his number 80 number. He's going to wear his number 3 jersey in which he wore against the Jets when he was a rookie trying to make the team and nobody knew him. If you don't remember, you look it up. Just look. Victor Cruz caught 2 touchdown passes, and everybody was wondering, who was this kid just coming out of Patterson, New Jersey? Nobody really knew who he was. Nobody really knew where he came from college. And so I'm hoping that Victor Cruz can get a couple passes thrown to him, make a couple plays, and hopefully get an opportunity to make himself available. I would be really upset if his injury makes it so tough that he can't get back on the field and possibly get him cut. Some people are saying that Victor Cruz could be one of the cuts at the end of this preseason if he, number one, can't make an impact, and number two, if he can't stay healthy and play. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Giants and the Jets both come out and play a good game. They call this the MetLife Bowl, and they give out this trophy with Snoopy on it, so it's kind of funny in a way, because Snoopy and the Peanuts characters are in association with MetLife, but we have, it's just kind of a crazy publicity stunt. But I'm looking forward to seeing the MetLife Bowl tonight, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Mets and the Yankees and how they're doing so far and what their expectations are for the rest of this full last month of the year in September. So we'll see you when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Welcome back to the NVP Show. I'm your host. They kicked Mofobo last night against the Philadelphia Phillies 9-4, including Wilmer Flores with a grand salami. He absolutely belted one to left center field last night. And the Mets offense recently, in the last couple of games, has been kicking Mofobo. They've scored a bunch of runs. I believe they scored 7 or 8 a couple of days ago against the St. Louis Cardinals, a good team trying to make the playoffs through the wild card spot. And I feel that, and Wilmer Flores did say something interesting last night to the press. He said that they're not giving up because a couple weeks ago, Terry Collins and even some fans were saying, oh, this team's giving up. They don't feel like they can make the playoffs. They don't feel like they can bring the same type of attitude, energy, and maybe some magic that they had from last year when they went to the World Series. But Wilmer Flores says this team is not going to give up. They know how close they are to making the playoffs, and they're going to fight till the very end to make it. So kudos to Wilmer Flores for saying that. Hopefully that will continue to motivate this team and get them into a playoff position. Talk about the Mets in general. Their offense is looking better. They're now scoring some runs. Obviously, they got Yoenis Cespedes back. Jay Bruce is iffy, but sometimes it takes a while to get acquainted with a new team. Obviously, you can't say the same thing for Cespedes last year when he came to the Mets and tore it up. It's from day one. But again, we're getting close to the end of August and getting ready for the last full month of the year of September. There's still a lot of baseball left to play. And I think the Mets, hopefully they'll continue to get better and continue to push for that playoff spot. Because for a lot of Mets fans, and especially in New York sports fans in general, we're really hungry for winners now. We're not big fans of teams that are developing, that take 3 to 4 years. That's why Brooklyn Nets fans are a little bit frustrated that now they got to spend another couple of years developing and getting better and rebuilding this team. But what I'm saying is that they want a winner now. So obviously you have that pressure of playing in New York and having to win now. So, and what's tough, especially with a lot of Mets fans, and I'm friends with a lot of Mets fans, and they have told me this, that they feel that it's just straight torture. I watched a nice little documentary that MLB Productions made about the Mets last year. It was called Tears of Joy. And that was a perfect description of how sometimes watching Mets baseball is. It's just sheer torture. 1 minute they could be really good and they could have really good expectations and people could get really fired up. And the next minute something could go wrong and you could say, oh, here we go again, and all this is going down the drain. Now look, I'm not trying to badmouth Mets fans. I love my Mets fans, and I just want to say this is just what some people have told me. This is just what I'm looking at from my perspective. So no disrespect to those Mets fans out there. Hopefully your team can continue to push and make the playoffs this year. Now let's go across the city and talk about the New York Yankees. A couple weeks ago, if you remember when I was talking about the trade deadline and what the Yankees need to do, I said a youth movement. Even last week I was talking about their youth movement was looking good. Their youth movement continues to impress me. Aaron Judge has cooled off a little bit since he had that incredible couple games where it seemed like he was hitting a home run every single night. Gary Sanchez, who got Player of the Week last week, American League Player of the Week last week, he continues to play well. He's almost at 10 home runs in the major leagues this year, and he continues to show why he probably, in my opinion, is the best prospect on the Yankees. Coming up, number one prospect. And I feel like he's just going to continue to get better, and he's just going to continue to develop and make this team better. I am disappointed, though, in Tyler Austin. Obviously, he hit a home run as well. His first at bat, in his first at bat in the major leagues. But since then, he's kind of been up and down, up and down. He hasn't really. It seems like he's really struggling to get used to the major league game, and that's understandable. A lot of players out there, a lot of rookies and a lot of young kids, they need time to develop, and not just in baseball, but in every sport. That's why I'm saying, you need to spend time in spring training and minor leagues to develop yourself to get used to pitchers throwing 80, 90 miles per hour. You need guys that are developed. That's why they have these other leagues in other sports, like in the NBA, they have the development league. These guys need to get used to playing against really good competition that are as good, if not better, than they are. You look at the NFL, they obviously don't have that, but what they do have, an exception, is the preseason. And that's why, if you saw before with the Philly sports guys when I was talking about Joey Bosa, he's wasting time not playing because it's going to take him longer to get used to the fast pace of the NFL, and it's going to take him time to get better and develop at a much faster rate. But going back to what I was saying, if the Yankees can continue to do this youth movement, now they don't have to do it now. They can wait another couple weeks. Obviously, the September call-ups where the rosters expand, you can get a lot more players up here. I think what's most impressive, and also to me not surprising, is that the Yankees all of a sudden are back in the American League wildcard race. And I said to myself, I wonder why. Oh yeah, it was because of the youth movement. Before the youth movement, everyone was saying, well, there goes this season, another season where the Yankees are mediocre. They try to pick up some guys who are well past their prime and are not playing that well, and blah, 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 blah. And so finally I feel like Yankee fans can breathe a sigh of relief and say, finally we're going in a different direction than what we've been going into the last 4 or 5 years. And so they can just feel relaxed that they can have young guys come in here and perform. And I feel like that a lot of these guys are only going to get better as the season goes on, and hopefully when spring training rolls around next season. Do I personally think the Yankees are going to make the playoffs? I can say yes or no to that, obviously. I think it's tough to say because we still have a full month. Like I said, we have a full month of baseball still left to play. And you have a bunch of teams that are not out of it. They're not out of it by any means. They're only 2 or 3 games out. And so you have these guys that are coming up from the minor leagues. They're coming up here and making a difference. Not just the Yankees, but other teams are doing it. And they're starting to see that, you know what, sometimes doing a youth movement, bringing up young kids is a good thing. And I feel that Joe Girardi is seeing that. Also Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman, they're starting to say, hey, we got these young kids down in the farm system. We just traded for a bunch of these guys. Why don't, in a couple weeks, we'll bring them up, see what they can do, and evaluate them from there and say, okay, what do we have that we can bring to spring training next season in order to make our team better? Because like I said before, the Yankees, the Mets, and every sports team and their fans in New York City want to win now, immediately. They don't want to wait. They want to win now. The Yankees are the 27-time world champions, and a lot of Yankee fans constantly want to see them win and win it all, because that's what Yankee fans were used to seeing, especially in the late 90s and the early 2000s when they won a bunch in a row. So we'll have to wait and see how everything goes, and hopefully they continue to get better. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about college football. It's finally back. We had a game last night, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that when we get back here on the NVP Show.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back here on the NVP Show. I'm your host, Neil Lilpiano. Next up, we're going to talk about college football is finally back. Last night, we had a very interesting game in Australia. I cannot make this up. There was a game in Australia Sydney, Australia, in a rugby stadium between the University of California, and the University of Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, which in my opinion is the coolest nickname for any college football team. In my opinion, I'm sorry, but the Rainbow Warriors is so cool. I'm sorry about that. But the final score of that game last night was 51-31 Cal. Now, if you were watching Philly Sports Guys before, my good friend Aaron said that he believed the final score was going to be 51-37. So I got to give him credit for almost getting the score exactly right. So kudos to him, really. That was impressive. I looked at the score last night and I said, wow, he was really close to that. If they had 2 field goals or a touchdown and a missed extra point, he would have had it right down pat. The biggest thing that I noticed from that game was Davis Webb, graduate transfer out of Texas Tech, making his first start in replace of Jared Goff, who now is the quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. He played phenomenal last night. He went 38 of 54 for 441 yards and 4 touchdowns. He really lit it up, and the Cal offense, not surprisingly, looked really good. The same could be said in some ways for Hawaii. Their ground attack was very impressive to me. It seemed like they could just run all over that defense. But the thing that really killed Hawaii that I saw was just that Cal turned over the ball several times that I saw, and Hawaii just couldn't really take advantage of that. If they had done it, I think the game would have been a lot closer. Unfortunately for Hawaii, and I'm not trying to badmouth them, they're not as good right now as University of California. And so for a team that's not as good as another team, those are things that you have to do in order to beat great teams like that. You have to take advantage of those opportunities. You have to take advantage of those mistakes. One last thing about this game that was really interesting. Everybody was getting hyped up. The announcers were talking about it. Oh, college football season's finally ready to kick off. And the first thing that happens is an onside kick. I couldn't believe that. I was shocked. I said, wow, the first play of the 2016-2017 college football season is an onside kick. Hawaii did an onside kick to try to get the ball, which is very interesting. Kind of throws the team off guard, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Cal recovered the ball, and it was just, I was amazed though. I was like, wow, this is a great way to start the year. I can't wait for college football to get really underway, because the fact that we're starting a game in Australia with one team from California and a team from Hawaii, which is crazy, and it's just crazy to start with an onside kick. Really? Unbelievable. One other thing about college football I want to talk about is that there's a couple big games coming up later on this week coming up. Thursday afternoon, first game, is Oklahoma versus Houston. To me, that is the biggest game, or one of the biggest games that people are going to watch. Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma, who got blown out in the Orange Bowl last year in the college football playoff, are back. A lot of people say Baker Mayfield could not only lead his team back to the college football playoff, but maybe even a Heisman Trophy candidate. We'll have to see. And then you got Houston, Greg Ward Jr., a very impressive quarterback for the Cougars. It's coming out, and I saw him play against Florida State in the bowl game last year in the Peach Bowl. Played really well. I'm really impressed with Houston. I think they're the best team out of the Power 5 conferences that could actually possibly make the college football playoff. If Houston can win this game and stay undefeated and win the American Conference champion, I would put them in definitely, because that would bring so much exposure, and a Power 5 conference against 3 other conferences. I think that would be really exciting for people to see. A team like Houston. Obviously, Houston in many years past have been known as the team that throws the ball deep and always throws it. Running backs, forget about it. But now they seem to start transitioning into other offenses like the spread with a talented quarterback, dual threat quarterback like Greg Ward Jr. I feel like they are slowly starting to see that, and they're starting to score a lot of points. I saw a few games last year when they played, and they looked really good. Even when Rutgers was still in the American Conference playing Houston looked like they were slowly developing into a good, talented team. Another game I want to go to, USC versus Alabama. The defending national champions will be playing against the USC Trojans, the new USC Trojans, with new coaching staff, a bunch of new players, new quarterback. Everything's new, so everything's optimistic for Trojan fans. For Alabama, pretty much it's the same old defending national champions. You have Nick Saban as your head coach. We don't know, we're still not sure, at least to my recollection, who's going to be the quarterback for Alabama and what we're going to expect from their offense. But look, they have 5-star and 6-star rated prospects. And so it's just going to, I wouldn't be shocked if you saw them score a bunch of points this year and maybe once again make noise and probably make the college football playoff. But I expect that game to be interesting. I think Alabama's actually going to lose that game. I know people might be shocked by that, but I think USC is going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and throw the ball a lot. Because last year that I noticed, Alabama's defense through the passing game was iffy. I saw when they played the national championship game against Deshaun Watson and Clemson Tigers. It seemed like to me, unless Clemson ran the ball or forced Watson to run, they were going to struggle with that deep ball. Clemson threw the ball deep several times and really lit it up. Obviously, Alabama, if they can fix that, they're once again probably the most dominant team in college football. Another game that's big, and I have a lot of friends that really want to watch this game, Notre Dame versus Texas. Longhorns, who obviously had a struggling season last year, are back, and they're looking to hopefully have a good season and try to make some noise in the Big 12. For the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they are looking to hopefully have a good season and try to finish in the college football playoff, even though they're an independence team. And that is going to wrap it up for this week's NVP Show. I want to thank everyone for watching. It was a great show tonight. Make sure to watch me every week here on Saturday at around 1:30 in the afternoon. And also make sure to watch the Philly Sports Guys with Pete and Aaron. I'm always on there for a segment or two. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you guys next time. So have a great day for all you NVPs out there.